YouTube, what is happening? I hope all is well with you guys. Thoughts of a Predicate winner back at you with another one. Today we're going to be talking about NF a little bit. He's one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite, definitely one of my favorite personalities to talk about because he's very secluded, very introverted, doesn't allow for a whole lot of public knowledge to be known about him. And but we are going to go based off of what we do know, and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to go all the way back to the beginning and how he got his career, what his original intent was, and how he ended up gliding over to Mansion, and where he went from Mansion we'll discuss in further videos down the line. But today we're going to really be breaking down Mansion and what it did for him, how it solidified him, and how it helped him move forward into the artist that he is today. And I'm really excited to break this down. For anybody out there, you don't have to hide your kids and you don't have to hide your wife for this one. There's no cussing in any of NF's music, and y'all already know that I don't cuss on here. I'm excited to break this down. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, so thank you guys for watching. But before we get into it, I need you to hit that like button and that subscribe button for me if you're new. And if you're old and you've been around for a while, I still want you to do it, because the truth is, unfortunately, about 60% of you guys are coming back and rewatching and watching these videos, but you haven't hit that subscribe button yet. I don't know what I got to do to earn it. Let me know in the comments if there's just something I haven't done that you want me to do. And, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. But, I would appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button for me. It helps me get in the algorithms. The likes help me to get in the algorithms. And even if you hate my guts, man, leave a comment so that I can get into the algorithms and other people can hate my guts too. But without further ado, let's kick the door down, man, and let's talk about NF. So way back in the day, NF was a Christian rapper. He came into the game a Christian rapper. This was the first song that many had heard from him or ever heard a verse from him. And this is on a song with Toby Mac. It's called Till the Day I Die. This is back when NF was just repping Jesus really hard.
Till I die and they put me in the coffin. It don't matter if I'm on the road or if I'm recording. Tell me what you think about me, that really ain't important. You know I'm a representative, I ain't playing, can't afford to. I only got one life, I'ma get it though. And this is not an act, not a movie, not a TV show. I don't know what quit means, I don't never take it slow. You know I'm on the grind, me and Toby in the studio. Do it for the king, what you know about that? Say you going harder, I do that. You say you do.
And as you can see here, he's unapologetic about it. Do it for the king. You know what
work,
it is.
But you asking where the couch at? How you doing work when you asking where the couch at? God is not a crutch, you can use them when you wanna. You only look to heaven when you going through some drama. And when they going through some problems, that's the only time you call them. I guess I don't understand that life. Wonder why, cause I'm all to the day.
That's fire. To the day I die. And this was the beginning stages. And rightfully so, he gained a lot of Christian fans. And those Christians were all in with him as well. They were like, yo, there's this guy, NF, man. He's literally probably like the greatest Christian rapper that you've heard so far. The way he puts words together and rhyme schemes, it almost sounds like a Christian version of Eminem. You got to hear it. And then you started, you got to hear him on songs like this as well.
Everybody's got a blank page, a story they're writing today, a wall that they're climbing. You can carry the past on your shoulders. You can start over regrets. No matter what you've gone through, Jesus, he gave it all to save you. He carried the cross on his shoulders, so you can start over.
And as you can see here, he's emotional. His eyes are watery. They're red, like he's been crying. Like this, what he's spitting on this hook, it actually means something to him. It's heartfelt. And he was unapologetic. Jesus, I do it for the king. Even on the Mansion album, he's still unapologetic about his faith. And I don't necessarily think that means he is apologetic about his faith now. What I'm trying to say is back in these days, he was just consistently talking about it. So as time progresses and moves forward, I think that he just started to really struggle with trauma, everybody, when they get saved, they get on fire for the Lord. And if you're not discipled correctly, you can really start to lose that fire, and that fire can go into lukewarmness. I'm not saying that that's what happened to NF. I'm talking about the majority of Christians. This is something that happens regularly, especially if you're not discipled correctly, because time heals wounds. Jesus heals wounds. And once you get past that little pink cloud, you're kind of in a place of like, sometimes you feel disconnected spiritually. Sometimes people that you look up to in the church or Christian family or Christian friends can really upset you and hurt you. And you can still feel alone because I'm one of those people too. Like, I don't play the political church game. I just don't. It's just not who I am. I love Jesus unapologetically. I believe the Bible 100% unapologetically, but I don't play all the little games that a lot of these Christians play. I'm just not about that life. Like, my life is based off of my relationship with Jesus. And, I think that's how it should be. And right here, we're going to fast forward just a little bit so that y'all can get kind of a grip on this. This is from when he came out with his album Real, or not Real. I said that because he's wearing the hat. Therapy session. I believe this was around therapy session or the search time. And the reason that I don't know the timeline of this super, super well is because truthfully, it doesn't get in the way of my belief and my fandom of him either way. But I think that it's important to discuss for the people that want to know and understand where he's at.
When did you find God? Because obviously people talk about the fact that you're a Christian rapper and obviously you do very well on Christian charts. Were you born into it through family, or did you find it later on in life?
I was born into it. I grew up in church. My grandpa was a pastor. But honestly, man, I feel like for the longest time I've been like I don't really like talk to God that much. Just over the past couple years, I probably realized it even more.
But do you have to?
And I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. You can scroll through the comments here and you can see all kinds of Christians that are just totally and utterly upset. Like, they're like, what do you mean you don't talk to God? This is where being real can kind of go to the left. Like, and I believe that today in 2024, this is why NF doesn't really talk about his faith that much, because did the regular people of the world attack him for what he says in this interview? No. You know who attacked him real hard because of what he says in this interview? His brothers and sisters in Christ. How do you think that that's going to make you feel, especially since you're kind of disconnected from society as it is?
Well, I think nobody has to do anything.
But I mean, if you believe, surely he listens to you whenever you need him.
I believe there's a God 100%. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people do. There's a lot of artists and a lot of people that talk about God in their music.
While Trump brags
Well,
about how rich he is,
I'm really rich,
and promises to lower taxes for big billionaires,
Sorry,
Kamala Harris
I
will
am gonna
cut
get,
taxes for 100 million families.
And
they're
unlike
gonna make me
Donald
sit through the
Trump,
whole
I
thing
will
too. I
always
am
put
gonna
working
get
families
YouTube
first.
Bread, or YouTube.
Some people think the Zaxby's Sensation
Jeez.
salad is too delicious to be a salad. That's why we call it a salad.
Super unprofessional.
All the time.
Sorry.
The way that I feel about myself, or I don't know, the way I thought about God growing up, kind of, I don't blame this on God. I think I just myself sometimes, I just don't do it. Right. I just don't talk to God. And if you believe.
And listen, man, sometimes that can be driven from you not feeling worthy, I think that's why the Bible is so stacked and full of verses that talk about come as you are, because you're not worthy. You don't deserve it. There's no way you can earn it. It's just based out of love.
I believe there's a God. I don't know why it would be weird, or why I wouldn't. Sometimes, like in the most desperate times in my life, I think sometimes I go to God and then I kind of feel guilty about it, because I'm like, why do I only do it when I feel this way?
Yeah.
So it's such an interesting thing. I remember when I was young, and I don't know if you believe in God or whatever, but when I was young, because I was brought up in church, I actually went through a stage in my life where I was like, I don't even know if God's real.
You rebel. So that's what I was about to say. I'm a very spiritual person, but I was raised in the church and was forced to go to Sunday school and things like that, and I rebelled.
Yeah.
But then I realized that God or whatever you choose to believe
Yeah, yeah.
is actually in you. So you choose to, you know, praise
it's
whatever you want to believe.
And see, this too, like where it gets dangerous because people start talking in ways that sound super relatable, but really it's like the opposite of what it says in the Bible. Yes, the Holy Spirit is in us, so technically we do have God in us once we get saved. But what he's insinuating is like God is in you, God is in me, therefore we are God, and we can all be godly. It's a mess.
Even what you want, feel how you want to feel.
I think it's very confusing, and I also was just like very judgmental from it. Like,
and keep in mind, he's just in a bad place. Or maybe not even, maybe it's not fair to say a bad place, but he's in a weird, strange place because he's getting famous. He's getting more popular. He's got a record deal. Things are getting tough to handle, you know? And I think that right here, just judging off of what I know about NF and who I know him to be, it really just seems like he was just in a position where he might have been trying to vent a little bit and wasn't thinking about what he was saying, really just trying to be real and keep it thorough and keep it 100. And I think that's what made the Christians so upset, man, is that he wasn't political, which is crazy.
I became like, just, you know, not to go into it too much, but I was just a very judgmental person. And I think that kind of made me, even of myself, kind of like, what's wrong? Like, why do I think this, or why is this way? And like I was saying, I was, I didn't believe. I went through a stage where I was like, well, I don't even know if God's real. Which I think is normal. I think it's if you really sit down, like I think I said earlier, I'm a deep thinker, which sometimes gets me in trouble.
When you're alone with your thoughts.
Yeah, like sometimes it gets me in trouble, and this is just one area, but.
And right now he's getting to this place where he's probably thinking in his head like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, and now how do I get back out of this? But in all honesty, I think he was just having a real moment and being vulnerable, and I don't think he meant to let it get to the point that it got to. But in turn, because of how the Christians reacted to this, when they should have just been like, you know what, we need to pray for him. Here for you, brother. Instead of that, they did the whole, you aren't really a Christian, you have sold your soul to the industry and blah, blah, blah. It's ugly, you know? And right here's another bombshell.
Well, I mean, the reason why I asked is because obviously, being that you're touted as a Christian rapper, I always wondered if there was a conflict for you, being that Eminem is your favorite MC, that growing up, did you ever feel guilty listening to what he was spitting and some of the, shall we say, ungodly things that he was saying?
Well,
did it ever play on you?
Well, I don't picture myself as a Christian rapper.
I've read that about you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask if you felt
everyone likes
conflicted.
to write. Yeah, that's what everyone likes to write. Yes, came up in a Christian home, Christian industry, and I just decided that just wasn't for me for several reasons. I don't have to think the same way someone does to realize that they're a talented person, or be inspired by something. And I think I've grown up my whole life feeling like you need to think like me, or you know what I mean, or if you don't think like me, we can't get along. You know,
That's real, especially in today's society. This is almost foreshadowing what's going on in the worst way today. So I'm glad that he went through this earlier, or else he would be in a madhouse of crazy issues in your brain today.
I'm married now, and I've come to a place in my life where it's like, we don't have to agree on everything, but I didn't used to think that. I thought you had to believe everything I believe.
Right.
You have to think everything that I think.
No compromise.
Yes, and if you don't, and I'm terrible at compromising on anything. I'm terrible at it, man. I'm like, if you're like, hey, can we do this to do this? And I'm kind of like, well, I was going to do this. You know.
I'm gonna ask your team afterwards how hard it is to
Go
do
ahead,
it.
ask them. No, but seriously, it's like I can admit I'm terrible at compromising. On time, I kind of one of my songs that's out, I talk about my relationship, and
Time. This is from the search era.
I'm not an easy person to be in a relationship. I'm a workaholic. My OCD issues cause issues in my relationship.
and he was in a dark place when he did the search. But yeah, I'm not going to keep dragging this interview out or whatever, but that's a precedent that needs to be set whenever we start talking about Mansion and going forward with his career and what it has turned into, and why Hope, the album, is so special to so many people. So you're looking at somebody that starts off as a Christian rapper, comes into the Christian rap realm, and for those of you that don't know, and you very well may not know, it actually might sound like the opposite. But in real life, you make a lot more money in the Christian realm because the Christians support much, much more than the regular world supports. So if you're wearing the Christian rapper moniker and you're putting out music, Christians are going to come by the flock to support you and buy your product, show up to your shows. And the community aspect of Christianity is huge, right? So you make a lot of money in this way. And like, parents point these artists out to their kids quicker, and it became a thing with a lot of Christians, not the judgmental Christians, but some Christians were just looking at this like, that's kind of wrong. I mean, if you're going to keep on saying you're a Christian rapper, but you're not really identifying as a Christian. So there were some Christians with that interview that were kind of like, all right, we need to pray for him, but thankfully he's not wearing that moniker anymore. Even though it's disappointing and it's hurtful and it sucks, at least he's not wearing that moniker anymore. And NF went his mainstream way, and he dove into like a very, very dark, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because these are also things that I want to talk about in a different video, but he went into a very dark realm, and he was in a dark spiritual place whenever he did the search. Even a lot of what was on Perception was like headed there. So it was almost like with his albums, you were almost seeing just like a consistent nosedive, but his career was on the uprise, which was kind of an oxymoron to him. And he didn't know how to handle these things spiritually, mentally. You know, he was kind of lost. But after doing the Christian music that he was doing, he in the midst of that, he gets signed to Columbia Records, and he makes an album called Mansion, you know, and I wouldn't necessarily call this a Christian album, but he does talk about Jesus still pretty heavily on this album. But the head off single to this album was Mansion, the song Mansion. And Mansion is something that NF fans and NF himself holds very dear and close to the chest, because Mansion was the beginning of the NF that you know today. And it's because he was able to kind of leave all of the monikers in the dust. And he was like, all right, I'm just going to be me. And people are either going to take it, leave it, hate it, love it. Doesn't matter. This is what I want to do. This is the direction I want to go. And it was a really good direction to go into. And I'm a huge, huge fan of NF. So there is no judgment coming from me. This is the intro to the album Mansion. And this was when we started to see that direction take shape. And even in the videos, it was just different. Now, I'm just going to kind of let this ride through a little bit. We might pause and press forward because the main video that I want to do is Mansion. Such an amazing artist. Such an amazing visionary.
I'm looking like I'm gonna get it, you probably don't get it. I come in your house with a microphone looking like I'm about to set up a show in your kitchen. I'm out of my mind, but I feel like I'm in it. If I never...
And see, this is so aggressive. You know what I mean? This is so aggressive. And it has dark tonality to it. But I can't wait to kind of get to where we are today with you guys, with Hope, because it's so cool to see his story unveil and take shape with really no interviews. Like that interview I just showed you was one of his only, there's a couple, but that's like one of the only interviews in public. You know what I mean? So it's like cool to see it take shape through the music, which I think is the realest thing in the world.
Don't make any difference, I'm still gonna kill it. You know what the deal is, and there ain't no chillin' when I'm in the building. And F is a monster, I am a villain. My music is sick and you don't know what ill is. You better get back, I don't write any filler. I write what I feel and I'm feeling a million, so you better be quiet, you hear it? I'm about to lose it. I'm on a whole different level of music. Don't treat me like I have no clue how to do this. You better rethink what you're thinking and move. Now picture me.
And what we're seeing here is gigantic momentum shift, right? Because the dark undertones, the aggressive flow, but Christians still aren't like, this isn't the wave yet. Like that interview I just showed y'all was really just for pretense so that y'all understood where people's mental thoughts are as a fan base and as the Christian fans that kind of left him. And I wanted to let that kind of be a prelude to how different this was, you know? So when this came out with the dark undertones and the aggressive tendencies and really talking about mental health and how he needs therapy and how he's just like messed up, this was not normal Christianity, you know? This wasn't Lecrae. like this was something different, but it was also coincidentally very relatable, right? Very relatable. I loved it. And I always have. Like there was nothing about this that I didn't like, but I'm also not one of those super judgy Christians that, yeah, I mean, we don't even have to go down that road. Y'all know that already. But it also displayed a true talent of artistry to me, because this was the precedent. This is what made NF real music that we know today. So it's super cool to see and kind of dope to go and revisit.
Making the music, I thinking it's crazy. I spend all my money on studio time trying to get on my music so people could play it. Keep it 100, my music was terrible. Learn to get better than one that I made. Go back to my Moments album. Most of you people, you probably don't know what I'm saying. Hold up! What you witnessing now? Don't try to figure me out. I grab on that microphone, jump in the crowd, they was laughing at me. Who they laughing at now? Huh? I laugh at myself. Some people, they looking like, wow. The moment you told me that you was a rapper, I couldn't believe it. You believe it now? Step in the booth and I'm murdering. You never heard of a rapper that killer like I do. I sleep on the couch in the studio, stay up till 3 in the morning and write till I get more. The moment I wake up, I feel like I don't even sleep and I'm ready to put out my record. Well, thank you for buying. Maybe you burned it, but either way, I'm gonna wreck it. I look at the industry, look what it did to me. You'll never make it if you never grind. You put a whole lot of money into it, you better be ready to give it your time. I look at the past several years of my life and I promise you I've been giving it mine. Try to keep up with this, I'm not a puppet, no string on my back. I'm one of a kind. Music is changing, no way to tame this. I am an artist. Look what I painted. Hang up the caution tape, I'm dangerous. Does anyone know where my brain is? Rappers are comfortable knowing they're famous, but I really don't care what your name is, and I really don't care if I'm nameless. Y'all just driving around. I know what my lane is. Hockey, not competitive. This is a job for me, it's adrenaline. Don't try to box me and I am Mayweather. I come in the ring, my punches are way better. I never drink, but I live in these bars. The moment you blink is the moment you lost. Say you a king, who put you in charge? Care what you think, I'm breaking your car.
See, it's just a totally different schematic. Like everything about this is different from those first two videos we played, right? Like totally different. But he hadn't lost his Christian fans at all, like by any means. Like this album is still talking heavily about Jesus, his relationship and his battles with Jesus, and well, not battles with Jesus, but his battles with his faith. And it's a great album.
On top of it, sound the alarm and wake up the neighborhood rap in your yard and carry the speakers up under my arm so you can sleep in on me, I'm at large. Enough with the jokes, I ain't joking. You come in the session with me, I'ma show you what dope is. And when I say dope, I ain't talking about smoking, I'm talking about music that has an emotion. I look at this mic, it's part of my family. Take it away, I'm coming to find you. I've been through a lot of my life and it's hard to get people to listen when no one's behind you. And then Capital came in the picture and gave me a shot. And look at it now, I look at the team I'm dealing with. These people ain't playing around.
And see, that's a big statement. I felt like nobody was behind me. Then Capital came in and Capital gave me the shot. And now I feel like I got a team around me and I'm ready to take off. But this is the precedent. This is the intro. You know what I mean? So it's like, I hope that, well, I don't really care. That's his sentiment is like, I don't really care if y'all like it or not. This is where I'm going because this is real to me. It's therapy for me. He says this in his music. This is real for me. This is therapeutic for me. I need this. So if you ain't on board, move, you know?
Looking back, I got a lap. I was in a whole different place a year ago. I look at the math, I look at the map, and thank you, God, I swear it's a miracle. And I'm sorry, but I gotta leave. But man, this track was beautiful. The least I can do if I murder a beat is take the time to go to his funeral.
Fire. And then you end it with a little ode to God, you know what I mean? Which I think is dope. And then, boom, the momentum shift.
Insidious as blind inception. What's reality with all these questions? Feels like I missed my alarm and slept in.
And listen, I'm going to keep it a thorough buck with you guys, bro. I've talked with a lot of you guys about how y'all ain't never going to get me to cry on camera. If you have any opportunity of seeing me cry on camera, it's going to be from him.
Slept in. Broken legs, but I chase perfection. These walls are my blank expression. My mind is a home I'm trapped in, and it's lonely inside this mansion.
And keep in mind, like when this came out, it was very like this is the most real emotion-driven music any of us have heard since like real early Eminem. Like it's very difficult for me to put my finger on something else that was like this emotionally, passionately driven, you know?
Yo, my mind is a house with walls, covered in lyrics, they're all over the place. And songs in the mirrors, written all over the floors, all over the chairs. And you get the uncut version of life when I go downstairs. That's where I write when I'm in a bad place and need to release, and let out the version of NF you don't want to see. I put holes in the walls with both of my fists till they bleed, and you might get a glimpse of how I cope with all this anger in me.
And what he's doing here is he's painting a picture of his brain, and he's calling his brain this mansion. And it's got all these different rooms and different, and he's got like his spirituality over here. He's got his evil down here. He's got his creative space. And that's the picture that he's painting, because this is how he feels like his brain is. So it's not like he's just doing this for the sake of like, oh, let me get the Christians upset, or it's none of that, bro. This is really therapeutic for him. And thank God, literally, thank God that he has this ability and this talent, because this was all very therapeutic and reminiscent with me as well. And I'm sure with millions of other people.
Physically abused, now that's the room that I don't want to be in. That picture ain't blurry at all, I just don't want to see it. And these walls ain't blank, I just think I don't want to see them. But why not? I'm in here, so I might as well read them. I gotta thank you for this anger that I carry around. Wish I could take a match and burn this whole room to the ground. Matter of fact, I think I'ma burn this room right now.
But the reason that you can't burn that room individually is because if you burn the room, the whole mansion falls apart. It all falls down. You need it. It has to be a part of you. That room, even though you don't want to see it and it's not blurry at all, you ain't got to reminisce. You know what it is, but you don't want to see it. But here you are, and every time you are here, it makes you just want to burn that one little room to the ground. But the difficult part of that is if you burn that room to the ground, you burn the whole mansion down, and if the whole mansion goes down, you go down. You need that little part that you really don't want to see. And I can't wait to get there, man. But over the course of time, he has really learned how to face that room, so to speak, and just face his demons and beat them. His story is the great, like, his story is so inspiring.
This memory for some reason just moved you down. Put me in the corner so you could see the fear in my eyes. Then took me downstairs and beat me till I screamed and I cried. Congratulations, you'll always have a room in my mind, but I'ma keep the door shut and lock the lyrics inside.
Insidious as blind inception. What's reality with all these questions? Feels like I missed my alarm and slept in. Broken legs, but I chase perfection. These walls are my blank expression.
I mean, how many of us can relate to that too? You know, like that's the story of my life. Like, I'm broken. Why am I still chasing perfection? Why do I need to be perfect? But I'm broken. I'm so far apart from perfect. It's not even remotely in the same ballpark, but I'm chasing it. Why? You have to learn how to take one step and one goal at a time in order to, but of course you'll never be perfect, but you know, really you need to learn just to not chase perfection, just try to chase being better one day, one step at a time. But yeah, dude, broken legs, but I chase perfection. These walls are my blank expression.
My mind is a home I'm trapped in, and it's only inside this mansion.
Think about that, man. Like what he did here, he like writes a hook and has some girl sing it. I can't remember her name. Forgive me. It's probably right here. I might as well look, I guess. I don't want to leave her out. Fleury. And she kills this hook. But this is one of those songs where like every bar is sentimental. My mind is a home I'm trapped in. I'm trapped inside of my mind. And it's lonely here. And it's a mansion. I got so many rooms. I got so much going on up there. But it's so lonely. And I don't have anyone to share it with. And I'm trapped.
Inside this mansion.
Yo, my mind is a house with walls covered in pain. See, my problem is I don't fix things, I just try to repaint. Cover them up like it never happened. Say I wish I could change. Are you confused? Come upstairs and I'll show you what I mean.
Another super relatable bar, right? Like, let's go back a little bit right here. My mind is a house with walls covered in pain. See, my problem is I don't fix things. I just try to repaint. And the issue with like when you don't fix the problem and you just try to repaint, and I know it sounds simplistic, but if you don't fix the problem and you just repaint it, the problem is still there. You hit it. You know what I mean? And when you're talking about doing these things in your head and the mansion is your brain, so to speak, you're literally just putting your problems away in a drawer and trying to not open the drawer, but they're always going to be there. So at some point you have to face these things.
In pain. See, my problem is I don't fix things, I just try to repaint. Cover them up like it never happened. Say I wish I could change. Are you confused? Come upstairs and I'll show you what I mean. This room's full of regrets, just keeps getting fuller it seems. Moment I walk into it's the same moment that I wanna leave. I get sick to my stomach every time I look at these things, but it's hard to look past when this is the room where I sleep.
I get sick to my stomach every time I look at these things. That's factual for me too. Like when I start thinking about my past and all the horrific things that I've done in my past, it literally puts knots in my stomach and makes me sick. Like sometimes I have conversations with my wife where I'm talking to her about my past and we start talking about all the, and it's such a different person. But in order for me to get to where I am today, I had to face those things head on, you know, which you have to do as well. NF has to do as well. Everybody, you have to face the problems head on or you're never going to get past them. And that's the issue that he has been facing for several years. And that's why Hope is such a special album, because he learned how to start facing those things.
I look around, one of the worst things I wrote on these walls was the moment I realized that I was losing my mom. And one of the first things I wrote was I wish I would've called, but I should just stop now, we ain't got enough room in this song.
And for those of you that don't know, he lost his mother to addiction. His mom died from overdose. He has a song, and we'll get to it. That's a very difficult song for me to do, because I always take it from the recipient end. I feel like because of my addiction and because of my past, if I do How Could You Leave Us from him, I'm thinking of it in terms of like my daughter saying that to me if I wouldn't have made it past it. And that's why it's such a difficult song for me to get through.
I regret the fact that I struggle trying to find who I am, and I lie to myself and say I do the best that I can.
Don't we all? We all like to lie to ourselves and say we're doing the best we can when we know we ain't doing the best we can. But you lie enough, you say that lie enough to yourself, your spirit will start to believe it. You know, or maybe it's your mental that starts to believe it because your spirit knows that the spirit knows better.
Shrug it off like it ain't nothing, like it's out of my hands. And get ticked off whenever I see it affecting my plans. And I regret watching these trust issues eat me alive. And at the rate I'm going, I'll probably still be there when I die. Congratulations, you'll always have a room in my mind. The question is, will I ever clean the walls off in time? Oof.
Insidious as blind inception. What's reality with all these questions? Feels like I missed my alarm and slept in. And slept in. Broken legs, but I chase perfection. These walls are my blank expression. My mind is a home I'm trapped in, and it's lonely inside this mansion. Inside this mansion.
So this part of my house, no one's been in it for years. I built a safe room and I don't let no one in there. Cause if I do, there's a chance that they might disappear and not come back. And I admit, I am emotionally scared to let anyone inside, so I just leave my doors locked. You might get other doors to open up, but this door's not. Cause I don't want you to have the opportunity to hurt me, and I'll be the only person that I can blame when you desert me.
I like that, man, because that's how I felt about my friendships. You know, I'm very fortunate and blessed that my wife stuck with me through all of my issues. She was by my side through my rock bottom. She was by my side when I came out of my rock bottom and I had to learn how to live. And I was going through these same issues, and I was so tight-knit with my friends and my brothers, and they just didn't call or wasn't there. And that created major trust issues with me. And for years, 7-8 years, I didn't want to be close to nobody. I didn't want nothing to do with nobody. I didn't want to build friendships. And I even kept my wife from building friendships with other couples, because what I wanted to do was I just wanted it to be me and her. I didn't trust it. I didn't want to invest in any kind of friendship because my heart was broken in half from my friendships before it. And I thought that if my heart could be broken by them, I'm never going to submit my heart to be broken again, ever.
I'm barricaded inside, so stop watching. I'm not coming to the door, so stop knocking. Stop knocking. I'm trapped here. God keeps saying I'm not locked. I chose this. I am lost in my own conscience.
God keeps saying I'm not locked in. I know, God, but I'm doing it to myself. I'm doing it to myself, maybe because I feel like that's what I deserve. Maybe I do it because I feel like subconsciously somewhere that this is what I deserve and this is just how it's got to be, so I do it to myself. Since I'm forgiven by Jesus, I just want to punish myself. Whew, that's a powerful sentiment.
I know that shutting the world out ain't solving the problem, but I didn't build this house because I thought it would solve them. I built it because I thought that it was safer in there, but it's not. I'm not the only thing that's living in here. Fear came to my house years ago. I let him in. Maybe that's a problem, cause I've been dealing with this ever since. I thought that he would leave, but it's obvious he never did. He must have picked a room and got comfortable and settled in.
I let fear in. I shouldn't have done it. It was a mistake, and now he'll never leave. It's obvious, because he must have picked a room and got comfortable and just settled in. What that means is that I just allowed the fear to get comfortable inside of me because I won't face any of these problems.
Now I'm in a position to either sit here and let him win or put him back outside where it came from, but I never can.
And the reason that you can't is because you're afraid to face those problems. You're afraid to go head on with your demons.
Cause in order to do that, I'd have to open the doors. Is that me or the fear talking? I don't know anymore.
So good. But this is the direction, right? It's like, all right, if I'm going to do this real and I'm going to be real about it, I'm going to make the music based off of what I really feel, what I really think, and this is the direction I'm going to head. And I'm going to display everything. I'm going to be super vulnerable. Super vulnerable. I'm going to let you right in. You're going to see exactly what goes on in my mind. That's why I don't understand the Christians that were so judgmental. Pray for him. Root for him, dude. Don't root against him. Root for him, you know? And for all you Christians that were, you know, back in the day, like, because he tried to do it. No. Don't root for him now, because now he seems to be doing good, and now he seems to be moving in the right direction. So I'm going to be the first one to tell y'all, don't root for my dog. Not now. You missed that boat. And it's such a special moment to see where he is today, because going back and rewinding back to this frame of time, and we're going to go through a timeline with NF over the next, you know, maybe month or so, and we're going to unveil and uncover a whole lot of uncomfortabilities, and we're going to uncover just his true nature and who he really is. And yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be super fun to break all this stuff down, and I'm the biggest fan on earth. So this type of music helps me. It helps me emotionally, because what do I love? When music does what? Pulls on your heartstrings and makes your soul bleed. NF is the king of that. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I will see you on the next one. Peace.